30 years old. That is how old Nikola Jokic currently is, and by the time next season is over, he will be a year older and a year closer to the end of his career. I know. I'm as sad as you guys are. And despite having just finished his 10th year in the league, he is still yet to play with either an all-star or an all-defensive teammate. Let that sink in for a second. And just to put this into context, here is an incredible graphic done by Owen Phillips. And as you can see, it is Nikola Jokic and Kevin Garnett at the bottom of that list. Just a reminder, the same Kevin Garnett who was seen to have the worst circumstances of any star player ever. Jokic is below him on that list. Now, despite that, Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets just gave the best team in the NBA and one of the best teams of all time a 7-game series that could have gone either way. And he did that with the third highest paid player on his team and third leading scorer during the regular season, averaging 7 points on 32% from the field for the entire series. To go along with an injured Aaron Gordon and injured Russell Westbrook, and no bench at all. All the whilst being the only player this entire season to score 40 points against OKC. In over 100 games, no one else has done it. Jokic did it twice in their arena during the playoffs. Yup. And just to put the bench difference from that series into perspective, there are about 7 players on OKC's bench that would either be the best or second best bench player on the Nuggets, which just emphasizes the gap between a team that looks like winning a championship and a team that should be competing for a championship every single year with one of the greatest players ever. And this can't happen again, because I can almost guarantee you one thing. The Denver Nuggets will never have a player like Nikola Jokic ever again.
Jokic gonna throw it up from... Whoa! He got it! Oh my... Nikola Jokic!
So when we are now 2 weeks away from the NBA draft, and the Nuggets have yet to hire a general manager, or have yet to hire a president of basketball operations, and instead are relying on Stan Kroenke's son, Josh Kroenke, who appears to be pulling the strings, this is when you start to wonder if this is a serious organization. Or more importantly, if this is an organization with the right people and pieces in place to take advantage of the prime of one of the best players ever. Because so far, Denver have had one season in which they surrounded Nikola Jokic with a combination of defensive talent and depth to go along with star-level play from Jamal Murray. They won the title that season, went 16-4, and had one of the most dominant championship runs ever statistically. Once. Since then, it has been dysfunctional, directionless, and to be honest, the only reason they don't appear to be any of those things, like a Phoenix or a Milwaukee, is because of Nikola Jokic. No other franchise would get away with having zero depth, paying Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray a combined $350 million, and firing their general manager without having a replacement in mind. All the whilst cutting costs at every corner and not being willing to spend during the prime of the best player they will ever have. With all of that being said, when you have someone like Nikola Jokic, despite the incompetence from Denver, you still have a chance to make things work, like we saw in that 7-game series against OKC. And a player who could help seems pretty keen on going back to Denver. Guys, the NBA season is nearly over. I know. I'm as sad as you are, which means there isn't long left to put your predictions in on who you think will win the NBA Finals. And there is no place better than Kalshi to bet on who you think will lift the Larry O'Brien Trophy. With Kalshi having facilitated over $2 billion worth of trades alongside over 1 million users, with Kalshi being legal in all 50 states. And Kalshi has markets on almost everything. And when I say almost everything, I mean almost everything. And that of course means they have markets on the NBA Finals as well, with your chance to bet on any number of things, such as who you think will win the Finals MVP, with Shea leading the way after dominant performances. Or you could consider the high odds of Tyrese Halliburton as a better decision. So put your ball and entertainment knowledge to the test and sign up using my link, and anyone who trades $100 will receive $10 free credit. Yeah, before we even consider what a trade could look like involving the likes of Michael Porter Jr., the biggest area that the Nuggets need to improve is the depth. Calvin Booth decided that he would take the approach of putting all of his chips into the basket of Peyton Watson, Christian Braun, and Julian Strawther. One of those worked out very well, the other two we don't know, and despite having flashes, when you get to a 7-game series against the best team in the NBA, you can't rely on players who are unknown. You can't rely on late first-round picks who are 21 years old to compete against the best teams in the league. Nikola Jokic pretty much said this himself after the playoffs. Bruce Brown, on the other hand, is someone that you can rely on, as we saw during the Nuggets championship run. And whilst the fit might not be perfect if Denver bring back Russell Westbrook, and side note, they should absolutely bring back Russ if given the chance, because despite some of the moments he had during the season, no one else is giving you that kind of production on a minimum contract. And whilst the fit might not be perfect, the Nuggets need to prioritize guys who can play defense, who can work alongside Nikola Jokic, and have playoff experience. And you can still hope for a leap from the likes of Julian Strawther, Peyton Watson, and even De'Ron Holmes in his first season, but the key word is hope, not rely on. Outside of Bruce, the Nuggets could look at a guy like DeLon Wright, who provides some of those attributes, namely the defense and some ball handling, or a big like Larry Nance Jr., Chris Boucher, who can potentially stretch the floor. There isn't a ton of options, but just getting in playable guys who can in particular hold up during the regular season so the starters don't have to play 36 minutes a night every game, that alone would make a difference. And then of course, there is the Michael Porter Jr. conundrum. The problem with Michael Porter Jr. and the trade market is every team saw what he did against OKC, and even if you factor in the health, they saw what he did against the Timberwolves last year. Every team in the NBA who have people much smarter than myself can see exactly what all of us can see. This is a very limited player. He is not good at putting the ball on the floor. He is not good at creating for himself. He is improved defensively, but he's not exactly a two-way player. And well, do I need to mention the passing? I mean, you don't get the nickname Michael Never Swing the Rock Porter Jr. for no reason. And I understand he was injured, but like I said, this is who he is. He's a great shooter normally, but he's limited outside of that. And needless to say, when his shots aren't falling, he is a bad player. This is where I believe the perfect trade for MPJ would be involving Andrew Wiggins. Someone who has thrived in the right environment before, someone who is much better defensively, can create his own shot, and is a better passer, despite not being much of a playmaker either. And I just think the shooting you lose, you more than make up for with his well-rounded game. And given the age difference and how Miami struggled with Wiggins, I don't think it's unrealistic, as opposed to a guy like Trey Murphy, where I don't understand why the Pelicans would make that trade. And whilst I don't think Jamal Murray or Christian Braun are perfect, one thing we know is with all four of those guys on the floor, including Aaron Gordon, the Nuggets are a great team. Even with MPJ as well, who was good during the regular season, but it's been 2 years in a row where he has capitulated against elite defenses. And that could either be bad luck, or it could be a pattern. But when Nikola Jokic is turning 31 next year, Denver don't have much time to figure that out.